what I think is problematic is that the narrative about the younger women is that there is this knock on women, on older women. Do you see what I mean? It's like, and there's this and there's a narrative about on some of these podcasts that like older women are lower value. So that the point that like a 29-year-old, I feel like I'm the senior citizen, and that's not a net positive for society.
You're not, as a human being, we're not talking about your value as a human being. We are talking, though, there's just realities when it comes to the dating marketplace. And if we're talking about the dating marketplace and we're having conversations of who is more valuable in the dating marketplace, in the same way that a guy who's 6 feet is probably more valuable on the dating marketplace than the guy who's 5'3", it's just the reality. Like, there's all kinds of things that might make you more valuable in the dating marketplace. And as you age, you're just not.
Only for women.
Well, I actually think
it's true though. It's true though, because and I see what people are saying with the podcast. They got to be careful the way they say it. But what the encouragement is for young women to be more serious about their dating when they're younger.
I agree.
Than to play and play and play, and then you're 35 with all this baggage, and then you expect to get a man that's far beyond that. So I get it. So women should understand to a certain degree that you do need to be intentional more in dating.
Yeah, because I was
not wait till you later.
I know a lot of girls in my case. We were told, focus on your education. Go get your bachelor's. Go get your master's.
You were sold a lie.
Yeah, and now and so now I'm adding value to myself, but it's a value that I'm told is not valuable.
But you're 29. Somebody's an idiot to think that somehow you don't have value at your age. You're talking about women that may be on the cusp of worrying when they get into their late 30s. That's where women probably should worry, because the likelihood of having children, things like that, become a lot more complicated. 29 years old.
Well, but there's some people in the chat that are
they're probably single, but you're a baby compared to life in adulthood. You're a kid. You're not even 30 yet. You still got a long way to go. Some of these immature men may be a little self-conscious about their options or whatever the case may be. They may think that, because she's 29, she slept with all these men, and they get bombarded with that stuff in their mind. Women should never be foolish enough to think that in your 20s that you somehow, these young boys ain't the man for you. You need to get a real man that's mature enough and that understand the value that you have, and that's willing to forgive you for what you've been through, not painting the picture of you amongst all these other women. I'm telling you, the guys that do this online, and I know they hate me, they're single. They're single, and they try to tell they're telling these young men these things, and they're single. They're not qualified, in my opinion, to only have the mic. I think young men should listen to podcasts. They should listen to these men. They should also listen to men who are married. Because it takes a little bit of sacrifice, a little bit of maturity, a little bit of growing up as a man to actually officially marry somebody. But when you can't these young men can't get bombarded with this, because they start to give up hope, and they look at these women as like damaged goods. Not every woman is sleeping around and getting ran through and have a crazy body count. There are women that do it. Avoid those women. You should be able to have a conversation with a woman and know, your body count is high. Then don't give her another body count. Move on to another woman. But a lot of young men, and I've seen it on these shows, they tell young men, go out, get with all these women, run it up, and do all these things. Women you shouldn't do that. I wouldn't tell a young man that. It's not conducive for a young man's growth to be a hoe. Just because the difference between men and women. Because women do it and they get shamed for it. Men do it, they get celebrated for it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the world believes. You do not want to be a damaged young man. And you do not want to fall into the trap of being single forever.
Exactly.
Because these young men are going to be single because we just telling them, she's 35. A 28-year-old woman is great for this young man. She got her stuff together. She's mature. Maybe she had a little life. She's over it. She had incredible value, but because she's 28 and he can't have kids with her and can't have her future, he's gonna walk away from that woman and go to a mature 21-year-old and then end up getting a divorce. I hope I'm not ruining your show.
No, not at all.
Alvin Sam donated $500. Mute Brandon.
Is that, do I have to mute him?
Guest to date.
Is that a mute?
Do better,
I think we have a.
I think, but this speak is a 500.
Hold on. Is that,
500.
does that trigger that we have a option to mute someone's microphone?
$9.99.
No, I think we lowered it. Do I?
That
That is mute the microphone.
Hey, you can mute me. I don't care.
Okay, I guess that's a 2 minute.
I agree with you.
I agree with
Nick,
Totally agree with
We
you.
all agree with
Nick,
you.
you got to mute. You have to mute microphone.
I'm fine. That's $500. I'll hang out.
It's only 10 minutes. It's only 10 minutes.
Hang out.
Nick, do you know how to mute? It's the red button. Oh, you muted? Okay, do it. Count. Anyway, we're gonna wrap up here pretty soon, Alvin. I like Brandon. It's good. It's been good. I disagree with you a little bit here. I feel like I shouldn't have. It's not fair for me to, without you being able to respond. But so I agree with you that there's definitely women who, at any age, that can make fantastic partners. 100% agree with you. However, I think men are allowed to have preferences, standards, and boundaries just the same way that women are. I think we know that women are very selective, they're very picky, and I think just some of the conversations about, hey, men, if you are capable, because look, the reality is most 21-year-old women are not interested in 35-year-old men unless those 35-year-old men are really attractive in some sort of metric. Like, there, it is a bit of cope, like, oh, at 35, like you're in your peak. Most men at 35 probably are not capable of securing like a hot college girl. Like, it's just reality, right? However, if you are an attractive guy in your 30s and you can get a woman in her mid-20s or early 20s and she's really physically attractive and she's a great woman, like, I guess the question that it makes me think of is what's the benefit of dating a 35-year-old over a 25-year-old?
Because they
I mean,
treat
what's-
you better.
What's the
No, they
benefit of the
don't.
25?
They really don't.
Only because their body? Is
Yes,
that the only reason?
yes, because physical attractiveness is important to both men and women. Women care about various physical characteristics, height. Does he have a full head of hair? Is he muscular? Penis size. There's all kinds of things
But
that
she's
women
not-
care about when it comes to physical attributes. And most of the things that women care about in men when it comes to physical attributes are completely out of men's control. Whereas most of the things that men care about when it comes to women's physical attributes, typically weight, is 100% in women's control. But in any case, yes, both men and women care about physical looks and beauty and attractiveness. It is what it is. And it happens to be the case that that men view, say, women, I think the typical thing is between 18 to 25 as the most physically attractive. Like, I think I was, and I think this applies to men too to some degree, I think I was better looking 10 years ago. I'm starting to get wrinkles. Like, my skin's not as taut or whatever. I'm not as in good physical shape as I used to be 10 years ago. It is what it is. Like,
But people
said it-
on the 35s, they're like looking already for someone to get married. If they're not married by that time, they're looking for someone. I believe so. So the guy that I just recently dated, he was 37,
Based.
and he will treat me like super good and everything. It just didn't work out. He was like too far for me.
he treated you super good. Did you
Yeah.
treat him super good?
Yeah.
Oh, but that's a 13-year age gap. I
Right.
thought that's impossible for someone who's as young as you to treat a guy nicely because you're young,
I didn't
right?
say that.
No, that's what I'm saying, but that's the argument that other people are
That was
trying to
not the
make,
argument.
that because of your youth, you are
No.
not capable of being a good...
It's just about
she's
maturity.
24, not
Why-
21.
Oh, okay, 3 years. Would you have still been a good partner 3 years ago?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Okay, well, okay then. But look, I think it's... shit, I'm losing my train of thought here.
You're just not ready when
It's
you're
'cause at
21 than when you're 30.
college, parties, whatever you don't want to in a girl, that's what they're doing.
Not all 21-year-olds are out drinking and partying.
Most of them.
Sure, but that's not the type of girl I want.
Like the
That's not the type of girl I want to begin with.
Right.
So if I were to find a 22-year-old girl that doesn't drink, doesn't really party.
Probably
There's
she's
plenty
not
of,
mature enough, you know.
I disagree. But will you admit this? Like, this is like probably we have people in their late 20s, we have people in their 30s here. You're 40, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I bet you know a ton of immature motherfucking 40-year-old men, don't you?
Yep.
Even older, right?
Yep.
I bet every single girl here knows a guy who's just your age or even older than you that's fucking immature. I bet you know some girls that are your age that are fucking immature, right? Mm-hmm. So age has nothing to do with your maturity. My view is I would rather, like, I can find a girl who's 23 that's more mature than a 33-year-old.
That's true.
It's it's the experience and the maturity like level, I guess.
Here, do you have a response? Because I think I've thoroughly angered you.
No, I'm not. Do you think I'm angry?
Oh no, you've kind of been grimacing a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I think it's sad because well, I mean, I think if what you said is true, that we bought into a lie, then you have a generation of like a 10-year gap of a generation of women that it was out of our control.
Well,
or it wasn't out of our control, but I guess we bought into a lie. But
you've been sold a lie to focus on your carear and disregard men. And
but I think I'm higher value than I was when I was 21. First of all, I think I was a late bloomer. So I actually think I was not cute until I was like 25. Anyways, but whatever.
Wait, question for you though. And I know you guys got to leave. Yeah. One last question, if you guys got to totally get it. So you're 29 now, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you're more physically attractive now than you were 10 years ago?
I actually do.
Do you think you will be more physically attractive at 39 than...
Probably not, unless I have Kim Kardashian's facialist.
We'll go around the table. So do you think... Two-part question. Do you think that, and this is for the whole panel, do you think you're more physically attractive now than you were 10 years ago? And do you think you will be more physically attractive in 10 years from now? Starting with you. Go ahead.
No. And no.
So wait, no. So you're more physically attractive today than 10 years ago?
Before.
Oh,
10 years ago.
So at 29 or 28 versus 38.
Yeah.
And then you're more attractive. You think you're more attractive now than you will be at 48.
I think I'm cuter, but not more physically attractive.
Sure. What about you?
Yes and no.
Okay. Also, I should change the question a little bit. I shouldn't make it 10. So are you? Well, you're 24.
Well, yeah,
so
14. Like.
Yeah, that's.
Of course, I'm looking better.
Were you?
What?
I think at 24, it's not. Do you think you'll be more attractive in 10 years?
No.
Okay. What about you? You're
Yes.
40. Do you think you were more attractive at 30?
No. I think I'm more attractive
You
now.
think you're more attractive now?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you'll be more attractive at 50 than you are now?
Maybe, who knows?
Come on.
My family
come
members,
on.
my family members look very young. They all look young.
So, okay. So you were not as attractive. You're more attractive now at 40 versus when you were 30.
I feel I am, yeah.
Okay. And you'll be more attractive at
I'm not saying I'll
50
be more attractive, but I mean, I don't know.
No, but that's the question. Do you think you'll be more attractive at 50 than you are now at 40?
No, probably not.
Oh, okay. All right. What about you?
I think I'm more
You're
attractive.
27.
Yes.
Let's say, do you think you're more attractive at 18 or now at 27?
Now at 27.
Okay. Do you think you'll be more attractive at 37 versus now at 27?
I hope so, but
No, it's
think
not about
so.
whether
I
you
don't-
hope. It's what you. Do you think you'll be more attractive when you're 37 than now at 27?
Wrinkles.
no.
Okay. I think you already answered. What about you? You 34?
I was more attractive when I was 24.
More attractive. Do you think you'll be more attractive at 44 versus now at 34?
Oh, I'm going to be less attractive at 44.
And then, well, you're 24, so whatever. Do you think you'll be more attractive at 34 than at how you are now at 24? Oh, okay. I think, can we unmute him? Has it been 10 minutes? Yeah, he's unmuted. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm about to say, I'll give 500 to get me out of mute mode. I think the real question you should ask every single woman on the panel is that, are you a better woman? Are you more prepared for a relationship now
that's
than
a
you
good
were
question.
10 years ago? Do you feel like that you would be better, more equipped, and more advanced as a woman,
Of course.
better to your husband 10 years from now than you are today?
Oh, yeah.
And I think every woman to say, like, I'm smarter, I'm wiser, I'm a better woman, I'm more prepared. now than I was 10 years ago. Your looks may diminish slightly. If you work out, you can control that. You can work out and you still look good, still look fresh. That may deteriorate a little bit, but the value that you add to a man may increase.
Can I ask you a question though? So, for you, before you met your wife, when you were still single, would you, let's say there was a woman who all the personality criteria, like insanely amazing, all metrics, just emotional intelligence, pleasant, feminine, she took care of you, nurturing, caring, all that stuff, but she was morbidly obese.
Brandon Mills donated $99.
God damn it. Thank you, Brandon Mills.
Brian, you have the wrong Brandon on the panel. 2. I missed some of what my fellow Brandon said, but I do think guys online take a lot of the red pill stuff to the absolute extreme. We just need a good women, regardless of age.
Yes, Brandon Mills. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Look, I think things aren't black and white when it comes to dating. I think there's room to be flexible. But so perfect woman, but she's morbidly obese.
Well, you say morbid obese. I mean, how bad are you talking?
330.
Because
330.
330.
350. About 350.
Well, that's kind of a hypothetical. You mean if my wife became
No, like, because
like she became big? Because if she's big like that, I don't think that I'll talk to her in the first place. I probably wouldn't get a chance to know her.
But let's say you got to know this woman, morbidly obese. She's amazing, great woman. But she's morbidly obese.
Well, does she exercise? Can we go do things? Can we be active together? I'm saying it's a hard push. I don't want to be with a woman that's morbidly obese.
I'm using extreme to try to articulate a point, but I guess what I'm saying is, like, there has to be physical.
Give me an age point.
There has to be physical attractiveness.
But you act like women in a 20, 29, 30 aren't good looking. There's a lot of women.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, I'm saying there's a lot of good women who work out and take care of themselves.
I'm not saying that
they're
women
really good in their 30s.
100%. Just a point of clarification. I'm not saying that. Bear in mind that I've, in recent history, dated women. Some women who are older than me. I've dated women around my age range. A woman who's 30, 35, 40, even 45 can be very physically attractive. 100%. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're making comparisons, like a woman who's 35, her at 25 is just more physically attractive.
I wouldn't say 30. I wouldn't say 25, 35, but I will say after 35, it could kind of get dicey.
So let's
I know a lot of women that
Gabriella Union. Anyone see? She's like 50 and she
Gabrielle
looks
Union.
I know a lot of women that if you keep up with yourself, 25 and 35 is not going to be a make or break.
Sure, but I guess look, I think there's another component too, though. I think it does come back a little bit to baggage, trauma. You've had an extra 10 years of relationship trauma, and
if you're looking at this,
and look, when she was before you became a Christian, you, like, from my perspective, you had sex with men. Now you're waiting until marriage, like.
My God. Respect donated $99. Girl in red dress. I'm 23. Was up good looking. Also don't know why Officer Tatum is getting hate when he's speaking truth. Young men are afraid to admit fault, and the red pill community make it worse, cause now they be thinking all women are bad, which is sad.
Listen, you're a very attractive woman. I'm sure you're not going to have trouble finding a guy. However, look, it's just we're having a conversation here when it comes to dating. I'm just trying to make the argument that yes, it is the case. Maybe this is an uncomfortable truth. Don't shoot the messenger. Yes, men are attracted to physically to young women.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
But you are such an influence. Like, your show is so influential. You are very influential.
I'm a bad guy. Okay.
And if you actually and you don't even practice that, which is what we learned. Like you said, most of the women you've dated have been around your age, and I just think if more of that, I'm not
suggesting that men exclusively date
I
younger
know you're
women.
not, but I think the perpetuation of that narrative, like even as
You're
you're
making
explaining,
it
and I'm not
sound
saying you should lie. I think it's great that you're sharing. Well, I think your points are incredible, Brandon, but I think also like the fact that
Simping.
no, but the fact that you're sharing that you actually mainly date people around your age, like that's good, because it can just be such a toxic narrative that like they only want. I mean that it can feel that way sometimes.
Yeah, I get.
I'm probably over exaggerating.
No, I get what the young dudes are experiencing on the red. I watch these shows. I get it, man. I was in the dating world and I had my insecurities about dating women with too much baggage and older women and younger women. I had those insecurities, but when I matured, I realized that, man, that stuff will send you down a negative path. You really have to focus on individuality. Generally speaking, you're right, Brian, you're right. I mean, the general average woman is not as attractive as she was 10 years ago. The average woman probably got more baggage than she did 10 years ago. But if you are an individual looking for success in love, you have to be open-minded to meeting a woman and hearing her side of the story. And don't be a simp to the point where you're getting taken advantage of all the time. You don't have to go on dates all the time. Young men need to be focused on their career. I have a young man that's talking to me about dating some girls. He's in his 20s. I'm like, man, look, you should wait until you're 30.
A pretty face won't take you far, or to be successful won't help you, you know?
Right. Like you say the girl is, and I'm not exclusively talking about you, but you say a girl in her 20s, yeah, she's physically better, but some of them are psycho.
Earlier, you said that pretty girls are psychos.
Yeah, but at the same time, but we're looking at looks. So if you say, I'm only going to go on looks, and therefore they'll lead me down the path of younger women, a lot of these younger women are broken, they haven't dealt with their issues, and they're psycho. And a lot of really, really good-looking women have a lot of baggage and issues. So I think that just don't get caught up in it. That's all I'm saying. I think what you're saying is invaluable to say, and I think young men need to understand the climate that they live in, but just don't get caught up in demonizing women, because if it was your daughter, how would you feel? If it was your mom and she's 45 years old and you're like, mama, you ain't never gonna meet no man at 45. No man wants you. You can't have kids. It's like, I wouldn't tell my mama that. I'd be like, look, there's a man that wants you. There's a man that's in a position in his life that's a little different. He don't want kids.
Sure.
You know?
Do you mean like, how would I feel if like I had a daughter and she was dating an older guy? Is that kind of like what you're?
No, I'm saying what I tell young men is what I want the young man to be to my daughter. So I wouldn't tell him to feel a certain way about a woman, because I wouldn't want young men to think of my daughter like that. If she went to college, got a degree.
Yeah. Oh, I want to come back to this really quick. I know that they have to go. Last question for you guys.